Welcome to Champagne Sunday. I'm Lauren.
Hey, I'm Bonnie.
I'm Beth.
And we're going to talk about life
After divorce.
And living
The best life.
and the life you love.
Yes, living the life you love on that other side.
Cheers.
Cheers. Welcome.
Okay, ladies. So today we're talking about what are your plans for Valentine's Day when you're single?
Ooh, thank goodness.
Not married. Is this a single woman problem?
Not for me.
No. Okay. All right.
But for some, they feel
It's
like
not a single woman problem.
the anti-problem that you may not be feeling that way, depending on where you are in your whole singlehood.
If you walk into every store and there are hearts and cards and all that, it tends to be a little rubbing.
See, and for me
But
this year,
it's
it's
okay.
not.
But it's going to be what you make of it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to buying my own candy and flowers. I buy my own flowers every week anyway for my house. And, I have a dream of one day dating someone who actually wants to send me flowers. Old fashioned. I'm a little romantic kind of person. I dated a guy who told me he doesn't even send his mother flowers. I was like, well, check. You're off the list. Anyway, that's not working for me, buddy. So I'm going to buy my own candy and flowers, and I'm looking forward to it.
And I see all of the Valentine stuff, and I still think of my kids first.
I do too.
But I think because I spent so much time in my marriage in such an unromantic space because of the addiction, all of that, that I tried that all of those became focused more on my kids than it did necessarily on my partner. So I still look at a lot and Valentine's is very close to my birthday. So to me, Valentine's is also like just y'all didn't know it, but it's kind of just a celebration of me
getting ready.
It's all about me.
It's all like, we love you, Bonnie. We love you, Bonnie.
So, so I guess I have not, and this, like I've said before, I'm loving this time with myself and reaching out to spend more time with friends. And so I think it's a great.
So are you saying you want to spend Galentine's with me?
Yes, Dad. Can we spend Valentine's together?
Okay. We'll do something fun.
Well, that's, and
it won't be like the meme I sent with you.
Okay, good. But Lauren, we have a friend in common on Facebook who talks about going to some new place over in Madison, and she said late Galentine's. I was like, yes, let's have Galentine's things.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like
Galentine's things all month. Let's just celebrate
like a throwback bar, right?
Yeah,
Some
or
kind
it
of
was
like-
some kind of. I want to say tea house, but it's not a tea
No.
house.
It's not. It's like, I saw that
you
too,
saw
and I
that?
can't remember.
Yeah. Anyway, just somewhere else fun. It's like, okay, why shouldn't, if you do not have a romantic partner, why can't the month of February be about celebrating the people in your life that you love, your friends, your family, your kids, you know what I mean? The kids and I, when they were growing up, when it came time for Valentine's, we would make heart-shaped pizza. It was make your own pizza night. I got all of the things. We made the heart-shaped crust and then they decorated their pizzas that way. Everybody ate their own part. It just, there's things that you can do to celebrate that don't cost a ton of money and it'll help just sort of put the attention off of the lack of a significant other.
Right. And I think the first couple of years, and I don't know if it was like this for everybody or maybe our listeners or whatever, when you get divorced, there's so much emphasis on I am no longer part of a couple.
Yes.
And that, like, I couldn't even watch romantic rom-coms. I couldn't even watch anything Hallmark.
It's hard to listen to music.
Pierced my heart. Like, I don't have that. Well, instead of doing that, now that I'm 7 years out, I'm like, well, I can't say that on this podcast, but I'm like, okay, forget that. And now I'm just finding things that I enjoy that I want to do because in my marriage, there were struggles with what are we going to do to celebrate? We didn't always celebrate things. And it was always like, I want to do this. Can we do this? No. So now I'm like, I get to choose exactly what I want to do. And this is how I want to spend my time for Valentine's Day. And if I want to stuff myself with a box of candy, which I'm not a huge chocolate thing, but man, do I love candy hearts and gummy candy. I love those gummy heart things. That just junky candy. I love that. And I love flowers all the time. I'm a huge cut flower person. So when I got divorced, I just said, you know what? I'm going to be my own best friend. And I'm going to get things that make me feel good and special. And if I want fresh flowers in my house every week, well, by golly, I'm going to have them.
And just because you were married or coupled on Valentine's Day previously doesn't mean they were happy.
No.
You know?
No, I have a slew of that were not happy.
I can remember struggling so hard to pick out cards that said anything that I felt.
Yes.
Like,
I love you because I have to, because we have a child together.
I feel like I always had those cards that were like, well, we've been through some tough times, you know?
Here's hoping it's better.
Okay, I'm going to tell y'all. Here is a bad Valentine's memory. Because if you hear this, then anything that you do on Valentine's is going to be great. So the Valentine's after I had my youngest child, when I found out that my husband I had a baby, he had a girlfriend.
Which was only about a week after you had your child.
Oh, it was the same week I had my child. My child is also born around Valentine's Day. So we were sitting at the table, and I kind of did not know yet that he actually had a girlfriend. He had not said that. So I had done the Valentine's dinner and had a Valentine heart-shaped cake for my kids, and my baby was dressed head to toe in Valentine's sweetness, and my other child had a Valentine's t-shirt on, and I had my mom Valentine's head to toe gear on, and I had cooked this big spread. And at the end of the dinner, my ex slid this envelope across my stainless steel table, and it landed at my place. I was like, oh, he got me a card. How special is that? So I look at the card. There's nothing on the envelope. Nothing. But it's pink envelope. And I opened it, and I opened the card. Nothing. It's a blank card, like you went in the store and picked it out.
Stuck it in the envelope. It was like, that's it. That's all I have.
2 days later, I got a receipt from our joint account that said $400 gift certificate to the Blue Canyon Spa in Franklin. And I was like, oh, he just forgot to put it in there. Hell to the no. That went to the girlfriend.
But did she get to use it?
No, she didn't get to use it because I called and said, I think this gift certificate must have been lost and we need to cancel it. Can you refund my joint account credit card? What a shocker for the little thing. When she went to get her, I won't even tell you what I called it, but anyway.
So do you think of that every Valentine's Day, or have you been able to rewrite Valentine's memories on top of it?
If you have that memory, anything you do,
it's going to be better than that.
It's so much better than that Valentine's memory. So that's like the low point, and anything else is the high point. So
yeah,
there you go.
That's true.
Happy Valentine's to me.
So my ex-husband used to always forget to make reservations in advance for anything. So we often celebrated Valentine's Day on the 13th.
That's when you can get a reservation.
So it's not really he proposed to me on the 13th of February because it had kind of become a thing. So the 14th isn't messed up for me at all. I'm good.
So I'm wondering if that tradition continues.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. But I think
call in, listeners.
We're taking applications now. Going back to what you said a minute ago, though, Valentine's Day is a specific like love day, obviously. But I think it's always important to make sure that you are celebrating not just the person in your life, but your friends and your family too. Like that's such an important thing.
Well, love is not just romantic.
No.
You've got being loving as a mother, as a daughter, as a sister, as a friend. You've got so many other ways that you can express love. And even though it's supposed to be romantic love on that day, you can make yourself feel better by choosing a different branch of the love family and heading out on that one.
How about choosing yourself?
Oh, yeah.
I had to climb out of all that and choose myself. I am worthy of someone sending me flowers. I am worthy of somebody sending me a card. I'm worthy of myself doing those things for myself. I just think it's, okay, here's the sarcastic me. It's become so commercial that do people just rotely do that? Or do they genuinely express love on that day?
Yeah.
That is my question, because I would rather spend time with people who have shown me by their actions that they want to spend time with me, who have truly loved me and been concerned about me throughout the year. Do you know what I'm saying? I think it's important. I think maybe that's just because I'm an old lady and I'm, 1 foot in the grave. But I really do cherish my friends and the time that I have with my friends
me too.
and how I spend that time with my friends.
Well, I think that's a gift we have all been given by divorce. I think that something I think all three of us can say is upon reflection on this other side, we understand the value of people who care about us truly. We understand the value of time because it's so much more precious when we're spread so much more thin.
That's true.
Can I, I don't mean to take a negative turn, but I'm going to say this. So even though I value like everybody that I care about, everybody who cares about me, like I have a wonderful community. Again, I have a solid relationship. I have a wonderful son that I love. Like I have a great family. I am great. But also there's a little bit about me that if all of that went away, I would figure it out. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I would
That's
be like,
survivor.
okay. Is that what
You're
that
a
is?
survivor.
I would
But
just I would go
are.
figure out what the next step was and move or
But
whatever.
I think we all three are. And I think that's why we can do this and sit here and talk about it, because we've had some really tough times. We've had to figure it out. We've all had a little trauma, or maybe a lot of trauma. And we're all not just mired down in it. Like, I can laugh about that
Yeah.
experience.
No, I
But, but we've all come up on the other side, maybe at different times and in different places, but we all have retained our sense of self, our ability to love other people and to be loved by other people. We're not bitter. We're not mean. We don't put out anything that's like super like, oh, divorce sucks. We don't sit here and talk like that.
No,
It
does that.
Yeah.
But we all can celebrate and see the good things, and even the bad things that turned out, that looked terrible at the time, turned out to be good things and good for us on the other side. Like everything got sifted and is a lot more clear. Like, oh yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. I think we would all sit here and agree to say, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. And I'm happy. I mean, I have bad days, but bad things happen. I said you can overcome all those things, and you have a sense of joy in you.
That's a mindset.
That nobody can take away that little spark.
I said this to my musical theater class today, that like as a performer, you have to make sure that you can figure out how to trick your way around days that you're not 100%, but we have to do that in life too.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's very rare that I wake up and I'm like, I'm 100% today. Right? I mean, do y'all feel like that?
Well, if I wake up at noon, I could say,
wow, it's up. Last Sunday, I can tell you last Sunday, I woke up and I was like, whoa, 100%. And I was all day, I was like, I'm 100% Lauren. Like all day long. I had crazy energy. I couldn't tell you what that was about. But it's not, I mean, like we hover depending on what our day's been like, or,
what our sleep's been like.
What our sleep's been like. If we have allergies or like what the weather is like in the winter and whatnot. So you have to trick it. You got to fake it till you make it.
Well, but I think you choose who you are and how you not just present to the world, but how you present to yourself. You choose the person that you are, that you were essentially made to be. Like I actually did a prayer this morning. I've had a couple of weird nights and weird sleep patterns and weird dreams. And I said, just get me back to the original person that you wanted me to be and show me what I need to be doing. Because I think if you lose that perspective and you don't choose to be your authentic self, you're miserable. And all those things, all those life things can get you down to the point that you can't. It's harder to get back up. I think if you choose joy and you choose to be true to yourself, no matter what that costs you, being true to myself cost me a marriage. It cost me financial security. It cost me some friends. It cost me some couple friends. It cost me some
big house
opportunities. But in the end, I'm much happier where I am. I miss my old town. I miss my friends in my old town. But I love my hometown and I love my friends here and I love my life here. But it was a huge choice to choose what I would accept in my life and how I would be treated and what I expected from myself as a mom, as a woman, as a wife or ex-wife. You can choose joy. You can choose love. You can choose to express yourself in a lovely way instead of dwelling on all the bad things that come with divorce.
I think all three of us have that sort of, I don't know, Pollyanna spark. I think there are some people who get stuck in the struggle, in the bitterness and the anger, and they just can't find their way out. And it's just once you get the taste of what I think all three of us can say. Once we got that taste of peace, once we are able to, we experienced the peace of being outside of the top. It was so easy to let go of any anger because everything was worth keeping the peace. Do you know what I mean? And so I think that if you, I don't know, it's almost like that toxic part was a blessing too, to be able to get here because we'd all been in such fabulous, happy places. And then all of a sudden we're blindsided. It might be harder, but it was so easy to let go of something because the exchange for that peace in life and to be able to come home and breathe instead of hold your breath is everything.
That was big for me too.
Yeah.
And I had a little bit of that at the first part of my divorce when he actually moved out. But I had a huge wave of peace wash over me when I moved and physically got out of the situation. But I think, I think a lot of people deal with, it's hard to get divorced because it's a huge change. Change scares people and change is scary.
Yeah. It's a huge change.
Well, and I think especially of us in bad situations because it felt easier than change.
And the person who like decides, and I think all of us are the ones who decided that we were going to do it.
We all are.
That person's already grieved it. And so it can be really upsetting to the other person when that happens if they don't know it's coming or they haven't, Right.
Well,
I think women to some extent do that. Like it took me years to decide to do that. I went through every emotion. And when I decided it was decided because I had spent all that time figuring out if that's what I wanted.
Well, I describe mine as sort of this is not disrespectful, but like a slow cancer death.
Yeah.
Like I had watched my marriage go through a slow cancer death over 10 years. By the time I decided I can't do this anymore, this is sucking the life out of me and I am not myself. And I owe it to myself and to my kids to be the best person that I can be. And that is the only choice that's left in my arsenal that I did for 10 years. I think, it was that I had done the grief process over 10 years.
Mhm.
And I think you did it too, Bonnie.
I did.
You grieve it and
Yeah.
you grab at everything that
Yeah.
could be a possibility.
Yes.
And you try everything.
Well, now you
It's-
what is it? Toxic positivity.
Oh,
is what I-
God.
Oh, I got a Save the Marriage dog
Yeah.
during COVID. I bought a Save the Marriage dog. I thought this will be
Oh, how about,
a dog will help it.
did y'all do hysterical bonding?
Yep.
Oh, I did.
Yep.
Sex had never been better.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true.
It's a
Yeah.
thing.
But-
I mean, it's
Well, you try to fix any area you have control over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can do that. I can make that work. I
Yeah.
can clean the house more. I can cook dinner more. I can, show more affection in more ways I care. There,
It's crazy, but that will wear you down too. Doing all those, what I would like to call is the last ditch efforts.
Yeah.
And there's an S on the end of that because I went through the gamut.
it's life support.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah.
But I think
just-
a lot
there
of women don't get divorced because they don't have the vision that my life could be better or I could feel peace. They feel like I have time served. I'm going to make my vision work.
Yeah.
There are all those excuses that you can't
I
see
made it-
beyond.
I made a commitment before God.
Exactly. It's a
This
vow.
is a covenant.
It's a
This is
sacrament.
It's a
Yeah.
sacrament, all of that.
But in the end, all those things are good, vows and sacraments, and it's a
But,
covenant. But it's a contract, and it takes two parties to make the contract work. If only one person is given 110% and the other person does not care or is given 10%, or in my case, given just enough to keep it going, that is not a marriage. That is not a contract. That is not a workable. Nobody in business would take that as a business model.
That's true.
Nobody in business would do business with somebody that gave nothing or 10 to 30%.
See,
That is not a partnership.
But with me, I don't think I got to the point where I was still terrified and I still couldn't really envision what it would be like on the other side. I still couldn't really see how things could be better. I just knew they couldn't be worse.
And that's,
You know what I mean? And
when
that
you
was
hit
enough.
the bottom enough times.
It was enough. It was enough to say I can live in a teeny tiny place if I have to. I just have to see if it can be better than this.
That's exactly what I said. I said I could live anywhere. I can eat government cheese. I can do a lot of things, but I have to save these two kids. When 4 eyeballs look at you, like, how are you going to fix this? That's a huge wake up call. And that's what I had. And I thought,
Well, see,
I
for
can't
me,
do
it
this
was
anymore.
I can't keep everybody safe because mom was an alcoholic. It was how do I keep them safe? How do I continue to keep them safe? How do I get them out of this where they, anyway, it just
well, on a certain level, mine was safe, but it was more of a security. How do they feel secure? How do they feel like they're not getting thrown off a cliff? When I felt like I was getting thrown off a cliff, how do I make them feel like they're in a safe space with
Mhm.
me? And, my marriage was just not going to make it. It
Yeah.
was
well,
not-
and we all want
Well, I mean, it got-
something good.
yes.
It got to a point for me that and I hung on for so long, but I felt, other than like the other things that happened, like the things that happened aside, I felt lonelier in my marriage
Mhm.
than I have ever felt in my life.
I felt that. I felt very alone in my marriage.
Yeah.
Much more than like any night that
Yeah.
my child rolled off
Yeah.
or I was lonely. I felt much more lonely in my marriage than
Yeah.
I do outside of my
Yeah.
marriage.
So, yeah, that was,
I don't feel any less
Pretty good.
lonely now. I'm alone.
But
There's
do you
basically
feel
hardly anybody in my
lonely?
house, but I don't feel.
But do you feel as lonely, like desperately lonely? That's how I describe mine. I felt desperately lonely. Like I wanted someone to talk to me. I wanted someone to physically touch me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I did tell
That's-
you that I got to a point that I realized for physical contact, I was paying my massage therapist
Well,
to
I
give
think
me a
that's
massage.
okay. I
Like,
think
you know what I'm saying? It was like
Yeah.
any small kind gesture, I was in tears
yes.
because I had not had that in my
And
marriage.
conversation.
Oh,
Conversation. Both
Any
of those things.
conversation, yeah.
But I think part of it's withdrawals. I think that after you've because you at least, even though you were married and it was terrible, you had sex. You know what I mean? Some of that. So you still had some of that. I think for me, it was the withdrawal of that physical closeness with someone, of someone who was supposed to be a partner.
The intimacy.
The intimacy of having someone in the same bed with me. It was that physical withdrawal. And it took a few years. That's what the loneliness stemmed from. It was the absence of that intimacy. But I'm over it. I mean, if it ever comes around again, that's great. But I don't really crave it.
Yeah.
I'm finally to a place where I can say, the Lord can tell me what he wants me to do, point me in the right direction. I am good to go, but I'm not out there trying to decide for myself in what direction I'm supposed to go in.
Yeah. I'm kind of at the
I can be alone.
I'm happy being by myself. Would I eventually like someone? Yes, that would be great. But this is another thing. I'm not going to settle for crumbs.
I'm finally to the place where
I've had crumbs before. I will settle for a filet mignon, but I'm not settling for crumbs. So it's not going to.
It's like I will not settle just to experience intimacy.
No.
I'm like, that's no longer.
Well, I'm not going to settle for a box.
But you can do that.
Yeah.
Without having to commit. But it's true.
But I'm not going to settle so that I can celebrate a national holiday with a box of chocolates and a card from somebody.
No.
I'm not doing it.
I feel like, so I'm in a relationship, and I have been. Like, I haven't really had much of a lull in that. 2 months. I think there were 2 months that I wasn't in a relationship after my divorce, which it just happened that way. I didn't really plan it, but I think that sometimes, just going back to like partnerships or relationships, that after you've been married, people don't take it as seriously that you're in a relationship unless you're married again. Does that make sense? Do you know what I'm saying?
In serious, what do you mean? Like
it doesn't seem,
you as a couple?
Yeah, like not as validating or something.
Yeah.
Especially family. They I guess they just want to see you married again. I don't know. This is new territory for me. So every time.
Well, no, I think it's kind of like, okay, when I first moved to this town, no one said anything to me. No one had anything to say to me because I wasn't from here. I didn't go to Auburn. There was no reason for them to get to know me at all until I got engaged. And then all of a sudden, I was worth speaking to. It's like, oh, I guess you're a keeper. You'll be moving into our community. I guess I got to get to know you. Like, it's just the strangest thing. But I think it's what it is with family is, okay, we don't really have to embrace this or get to know him until we know he's a keeper forever.
That might be what
you know what I mean?
I think that's what it is. I don't think it's you. I think it's the whole
mindset of we're not going to get
be
attached
serious about him enough that we
when we know this is a permanent situation, then we're 100% in. But until then, great, bring it around if you want to.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's probably what it is.
Which is interesting because I don't remember that. I mean, I had not dated in.
Well, and when you dated before, you
15
didn't
years.
date here.
That's true.
That's true.
You dated in a completely
and lived next door to your mama.
That's true. Yeah.
You were.
I do. I do live next door to my mother.
You weren't in close proximity.
So it may also be your family allowing you to have boundaries.
That's true.
With them and your partner. Because when you first started dating, you really established some, hey, the boundary here. We're not ready for this whole family campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it may just be a lot of respect also for you in that you have a partner now and they're going to respect whatever boundaries you have put forth about, okay, we're going to let her decide when we cross all that.
I don't think it's that. No, we'll save that. We'll save that for later.
That's the poly.
Sorry, it was my poly.
You're such a nice person, Bonnie. You make me a nicer person. Well, back to Valentine's. I think if you have a partner, that's great. Celebrate it. If you have friends, celebrate them. I think it's great that you can have a Galentine's. I think that's great that that's a thing. I think it's come along at a perfect time in my life that that's a thing. And, if you want to be by yourself on Valentine's, That's fun
Big old
too.
bubble bath, get a drink.
Oh, I love to do all that.
I think last year, I'm trying to remember, but I think last year on Valentine's Day, I had my son. So my son and I went to dinner. I think I took my son to dinner the last 2 years. On
Well,
Valentine's
I think my son and I had
Take
dinner
and
last
then
year.
and then
I think I
my
took my daughter. Yeah.
my boyfriend and I like will celebrate a different time. Like it's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be so narrow. I guess is
Well, it's not like it's Christmas.
no. Yeah.
It really even have to be celebrated if we're all going to be
it doesn't.
honest.
It doesn't.
You know, it's just another day.
Well, I will say,
you could watch a slasher film.
You
I
can't.
do miss making.
It's bloody.
You
it's
remember
parts.
Hearts
Hearts make blood.
Valentine.
Hearts make blood.
Do you remember that making your own Valentine spot so people could go and put your Valentine in school?
My favorite.
I miss that.
My favorite one with my daughter. She made a purple shark. It was awesome.
That's so cute. We actually had a little mailbox when my daughter was little, and she decorated. It was the cutest thing you've ever seen. I miss those little cutesy things.
I don't know if they have to do it. My son made an Alice in Wonderland themed one where we decorated it with like playing cards all over it.
Cute.
Lasted a couple years, but I don't know. If
I loved his Queen of Hearts face.
Yeah,
Alice in Wonderland face.
yeah. I miss it. I miss it. The Alice in
too.
Wonderland face was a good one.
That's your little tiny Valentine.
Yeah. My little puppy is in my lap.
It's so cute.
So, all right. Well, what are we doing this week? Or do y'all have Valentine's plans? I don't think any of us have actually made.
Well, my partner's having surgery this coming week.
So, in-home Valentine's.
So, yeah, it'll be a stay-at-home situation, most likely.
Yeah.
That's okay, though. That's how we like it anyway, usually. But I have a fun weekend coming up this weekend. I have my friend's birthday. She's turning 30. And then your
Yeah, we have an engagement
party.
It's happening.
We have an engagement party.
Yeah.
I have my daughter's birthday, and then shortly after, Bonnie's birthday. That's in the next
Yay.
time. Yeah.
What's your birthday? Which date is it? Are you allowed to say? Oh, I got it. I know, and you all do not.
Dun, 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 dun.
Well, we should really plan to have your daughter and my son. We can all do something together or something. Just do
That sounds good.
make stuff or do
That
something.
sounds good. That sounds good.
All right. Well, y'all have the best week
Happy,
ever.
happy Valentine's.
Yes.
Ooh, mine makes good.
Thank y'all for joining us for Champagne Sunday.
See you next week,
See you
girls.
next week. Yeah, cheers.
Have a good week.
Cheers.
Yes, cheers.